Hello, everyone, and welcome to round 21's edition of the National League Rugby Preview Show, powered by Talking Rugby Union. Well, just 6 games to go for almost all of the 56 clubs across National 1 and National 2. And during this show, we'll of course be looking back at some of the key points from round 20, while also looking ahead to all of the action this coming weekend. But before that, a big thanks to those who watched the main show last week, and for those who did spend the time tuning in to the breakdown videos of the main show as well. Now, the reason we say this is because we noticed the number of people liking our videos across YouTube last week did increase, so make sure you do that again this week because it is much appreciated. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel as well. To subscribe to our YouTube channel and to like our videos costs you absolutely nothing, and it just helps to boost the profile of National League Rugby. And a big thanks as well to both Hull Ionians and Barnes for their time and support on last week's main show as well. It was great to have them involved in round 20's episode, and it was brilliant to chat to Hull Ionians' Malik Holden and Barnes director of rugby Jack Heald, certainly two of the most forward-thinking coaches in National League Rugby at the moment. So it was great to pick their brains on last week's show. And also, I know we've kind of talked about attendances this year and the healthy crowds we've seen across National 1 and National 2 at clubs like Rams in National 1 as well as Plymouth Albion, and also in National 2 East with clubs like Havant. But great work by Mark Nelson at Fylde last weekend, who did a bit of digging, did a bit of research, and found out that Fylde against Tyndale in National 2 North had the 4th highest attendance in England on Saturday, with 1,002 supporters packed into Woodlands. That figure was only bettered by a couple of Premiership Rugby Cup quarterfinals and the Premiership Women's Rugby semi-final between Saracens and Harlequins. So great research by Mark. I've plucked those stats from the article that was on Fylde Rugby's website as well, and kudos to Fylde themselves for that attendance last week. And we hope to see some more big crowds this weekend, especially at the 2 clubs we are featuring on the National League Rugby Preview Show this week, starting with National 1's Birmingham Moseley, who actually kick off the National League Rugby weekend against league leaders Richmond under the Friday night lights at Billsley Common. So we'll be hearing from Moseley boss Adam Boulding very shortly indeed. Later, we'll be diving into National 2 West to hear from Hornets, who not only arguably had the most dramatic victory of round 20, but they are also very much on course for their best ever finish in National 2 West. So more on that to come a little bit later in the show. But for now, as always, let's begin by looking back at round 20, and we start with the National 1 title race. So it was another interesting week in the title race in National 1, with the in-form Plymouth Albion having their say in the promotion battle. Now, last week, you may have seen Albion's social media post, which described this month as March Madness, with Ryan Lamb's side facing all of the current top 4 teams. And in addition to this, Plymouth entered round 20 on an 8-game winning run, and they arrived at 4th placed Rams full of confidence, and they were able to extend that winning run to 9 matches after a brilliant 47-33 victory at Old Bath Road. 3 second-half tries and 12 points from the boot of Tom Putt, steering Plymouth to this win, and it leaves Albion in 5th place and 12 points off the top with 6 games to go in their season. But as we said, after defeating Rams, Plymouth now have to play the current top 3 sides before the end of March. But those teams above them all have to play one another between now and the end of the season. So in a nutshell, the teams in this top 5 have some sizable games coming up towards the conclusion of this thrilling National One campaign. So some really exciting fixtures to look forward to over the next few weeks. And Rams' press officer, Rich Ashton, actually spoke to Plymouth's man of the match, Jack Alton, after Saturday's win. And Jack didn't shy away from the fact that he did say that Albion believe they can still win this league despite the 12-point gap that currently separates them and leaders Richmond. So Plymouth Albion banging form and can still have a say in this title race. But the long and short of it is, as you can see, Richmond are still in pole position after they came back from 14-0 down against ninth place Bishop Stortford last week to win 38-21 at the Rag with 3 tries in the opening 11 minutes of the second half, turning the tide for Richmond in that one. 4 straight wins now for Rob Powell's troops, but it is 7 straight wins for second place Rotherham Titans, who are now 3 points behind Richmond following a hard-fought 28-27 success over 8th placed Birmingham Moseley. A really nice line in the match report of David Beddoes, who writes for the Rotherham Advertiser on Saturday, as he spoke to Titans' Harry Gilson-Fox, who said Director of Rugby Harvey Billion has a saying, which is winners find a way to win, and the Rotherham are doing just that at the moment, because despite some significant injuries in their forwards, a strong first half showing and then a resilient second period saw the Titans eke out this win over Birmingham Moseley. And even though they failed to collect a bonus point once again, they are still on the heels of Richmond with some key fixtures to come between now and the end of the month. Just quickly, as you can see, Roslyn Park are up to 3rd after a gritty 21-19 win over struggling Leicester Lions last time out, and a 7th defeat from their last 10 games for Rams means they are now down to 4th and sit level on points with Roslyn Park and Plymouth Albion. So that is the state of play in the top half of National One, with 6 games to go in the season. Into the bottom half, though, where the bottom 2 sides did collect bonus points in defeat in round 20. A losing bonus for Leicester Lions at Roslyn Park, while Darlington Moden Park did lead twice at home against 11th place Dings Crusaders, who also had a player sent off on 51 minutes. But in the end, DMP fell to a 31-24 defeat and had to settle for 2 bonus points, meaning the outcome of that means they could be relegated this Saturday if results go against them. And the action in National One in round 21 begins on Friday night, with league leaders Richmond travelling to Birmingham Moseley, and it's host Birmingham Moseley, who are our first feature club of the week on the National League Rugby preview show. Now, Moseley dropped into the bottom half of the standings last week after that narrow defeat, away at Rotherham. And they Moseley still have a game in hand to come as well. But after a very solid start to the campaign, following a 5th place finish last season, injuries and fixture disruption certainly haven't helped any consistency for Birmingham Moseley, who after 8 wins from the first 12 games have only won twice since the turn of the year. But one of those victories was quite significant, as it came against 4th place Rams in their last home game, where they produced arguably their best performance of the season to record a 19-0 win at Billsley Common. So Birmingham Moseley will be wanting to replicate that again under the Friday night lights against Richmond and against another title contender. So in the lead up to this one on Friday evening, we caught up with Birmingham Moseley Director of Rugby, Adam Balding. Of course, we're looking ahead to what should be a brilliant occasion on Friday night at Billsley Common, with Birmingham Moseley kicking off the National One weekend against league leaders Richmond. But kind of before we go into that, just maybe your thoughts and reflections on last time out for Birmingham Moseley. Adam, another kind of narrow, tight game for the club this season, but very difficult place to go in Rotherham Titans. So what can you take from that tight encounter going into Friday night against another top 4 team?
I think the lads played really well, going into the within the Rotherham game itself. I thought, to lose by a point is always difficult to take, but reality is, it could have gone either way. It was three tries apiece, came down to 1 point. We had our chances to win the game, as did they, and obviously they did win by a point. But to go there and push them the way we did, I think shows the caliber and the quality that we've got within the group. And the fact is, whether we like it or not, we're still navigating through some significant injuries that we've had to deal with for the best part of the season. And the lads that have been at the helm week in, week out since for the last foreseeable games actually are doing a fantastic job. We pride ourselves with how we pitch up, and I thought, to the man, the lads should be proud of what they did. And obviously we've got Richmond this week, who are top of the table, and it doesn't get any easier. But we're back at home under the lights, and Friday night lights at Moseley is a special place to be. And hopefully we get a load of support. People come down to watch the game and start the weekend, on the right foot. And more importantly, we just want to see the boys go out and perform. The lads work really hard. We ask a lot of our players, just like I'm sure the National League clubs do the same. And we squeeze them for everything we can get, and they're a great group. Just like the coaching group, they do a fantastic job, and I'm very grateful for all the hard work that they all put in. Ultimately, sometimes you don't get the just reward for the effort, but it's like with anything. You have to put the effort in, and then the success comes off the back of it. So look, we've got 7 games to make sure that we leave our mark on the season. Since Sedgley Park away, we've had some significant results and performances, and all we can do is keep building on that. And we've got lads coming back from injury. We've got lads coming, finding some really good form within the group itself. So competition for places is high, and all we can do is finish the season on the best foot forward, and ultimately see where it takes us.
You mentioned kind of significant results and performances, and not least the last home game, if I'm right in saying, Adam, against Rams. Obviously, the weather and the elements weren't great that day, but the performance.
Yeah, it was a lovely dry day at Bilsley Common.
I don't know what you mean. I do know that it was sunny.
I had to water the pitch. No. I mean, look, that was a great day. And all credit to Rams. They performed well, but I think we hit our straps. The players got their act together, and I think we showcased exactly what we can do. And again, another quality side who are proven year on year. They're always up there at the top, and they're a great side. And to get that win at home was superb. And I thought the attitude going into that game was absolutely superb. It's all the uncoachable elements that you have to package up on a Saturday afternoon that you can't coach, and we're big on that. And fundamentally, lads getting it right, getting their own detail right, going into the game, which is most important. And we won't need to be motivated to play Richmond because they're top of the table. So for us, this is a massive clash. If we can't be motivated for this game and go out, perform and deliver a performance that we can be proud of, we shouldn't be taking the field. And I know full well that the lads will go and do their best. And to a man, they'll make sure that, we will empty the tank, and whoever comes out on top will come out on top, but it won't be through us not performing. I think that's the most important thing. And as I said, we'll see where we're at post game.
And in a weird way, Adam, I mean, last season you kind of had narrow defeat, but you were still able to climb the table and have the season that you had. But even with the injuries you've had this year, even with kind of the disruption in the fixtures, how much can you take from some of those narrow defeats you've had against, your Rotherham Titans, who sit second in the league, the narrow win that you had against Roslyn Park, who sit third in the league, the win against Rams? It shows that Birmingham Moseley are capable of challenging in the higher echelons of this league, isn't it? Despite having maybe some key players missing during the campaign.
Yeah, look, I think what it does, it highlights, it provides opportunity. It provides opportunity for those younger lads to come in, and we've found some real gems this year with some young lads stepping in and playing week in and week out, and it shows that not only are they capable for National League rugby, but potentially higher at some point as well. So I think it's a bit of a discovery mission, and we've been pleasantly surprised, and obviously, as I said, we're now seeing those more experienced players return. So it's going to make for a real interesting final running for us, because we should have a lot more players to select from, and competition is paramount, because that breeds performance. And when everyone's competing for the same spot, you tend to find that extra couple of percent that you're looking for. But look, ultimately, as I said, they're a great. We've got a great group, and I'm really happy with everything that they do. But you're absolutely right. On any given day, probably would be a little bit higher up the league. But I'm not making excuses. This is probably the most fiercely contested season that we've seen. There's one of like four teams that are, well, one of five teams that are firmly in the mix. Plymouth, Rams and Roslyn Park are still firmly there. It's up to Rotherham and Richmond to keep winning. And the fact that it's so closely contested at that top end of the table shows the quality within National League One, which is credit to all the other teams, the coaches, and everything else that goes in behind the scenes.
And just on Richmond, it probably overlaps into some of the answers you've already given, Adam, in terms of the quality of National One. Obviously, you guys kick off the National One weekend against them this weekend. I know there's another big game on Saturday with Plymouth Albion taking on Rotherham as well. But what have you kind of have made of Richmond this year? They were pretty inconsistent last year, and they said it themselves at the start of the year, but they are the league leaders at the moment, and they seem to be clicking back into gear at just the right time themselves.
I'd say they're the best team in the league in terms of consistency and how they perform. I think the way that they perform both sides of the board is very consistent and also quite pragmatic. They don't make many mistakes. And they certainly apply pressure all over the pitch. So we know that it's going to be a massive challenge on Friday, but we know that when we get it right, we can squeeze teams as well, and it'll make for an interesting contest. And I might have to go 5 forwards on the bench to see what we can do, but I'm only joking. I'm only joking. No, but all seriousness, Richmond have been quality all year, and they're a good side. But ultimately, as I said, anybody can beat anybody, and we're at home, and we'll back ourselves against anybody playing at home, and it should make for a good night on Friday.
And just a couple more from me, Adam, just in terms of the wider picture. Of course, you'll be focused on kind of the end of the season, ending it as strongly as you can. But in terms of the aspirations of Birmingham Moseley going forward, I'm sure you would love to have built on last season and some things that haven't fallen your way this year. But is this a club that wants to be challenging towards those top 4 places, those top spots in the years to come, in the not too distant future, should I say?
Of course. I mean, look, there's still 7 games left. There's no reason why we still can't finish 4th or 5th. The destiny is in our hands. Birmingham Moseley, like any other club in National One, I think the big word is sustainable. We've all got to become sustainable, both financially and from an infrastructure point of view. And I think that's at the forefront of most National League clubs in terms of their strategy and the direction they want to move in. But to answer your question, Moseley, steeped in history, it's a club which wants to get to the very top, as high as we can possibly go. And we'll do everything we can to get there. But ultimately, you got to navigate through 26 games to a season, which is a very challenging season. And as we've found this year, there's always things out of your control. But I don't see this season as a disappointment. I see it as a bit of a learn. There's been a few blips, but there's been lots of good. And we judge ourselves over 26 games, not just a handful. And as I said, I'm really proud of how the players and the staff all work so hard behind the scenes. And sometimes we don't get it right, but hopefully on Friday we do, and it makes for a good contest.
Birmingham Moseley is such a pillar of the community as well. So if you are at a loose end on Friday night, you are finishing work, it's a brilliant way to kickstart your rugby weekend. 100%. A packed weekend of rugby, 7:45 kickoff, Birmingham Moseley versus Richmond. And it's also a big weekend as well for the Colts side, Adam, just to finish off as well. So hopefully a win on Friday and a win at the weekend as well.
Yeah, the lads are in the semi-finals of the North Mids Cup against Camp Hill. So I just want to wish the Colts all the very best for that game, and hopefully, if things like a loose end, get down and support them. We've got the women playing over at Bridge North in what is a big game as well. So we want to wish the women all the best, and hopefully we have a good weekend in Birmingham Moseley right across all different sections, which would be great to see.
So a big thanks to Adam for his time when we spoke on Tuesday evening. It should be a brilliant occasion and a brilliant weekend for Birmingham Moseley. And of course, the icing on the cake would be a winning weekend, beginning with Friday night against Richmond for the first 15. It is a 7:45 p.m. kickoff at Billesley Common. And do visit Birmingham Moseley's Instagram account, their website, and the rest of their social media channels as well for all the ticket details for Friday night, because there are various options for you to choose from. Last time Birmingham Moseley met Richmond in the Midlands, it was a last-minute penalty try that won it for Moseley, 31-29. So those heading to Billsley Common on Friday will be hoping for more of the same, as it is a brilliant weekend to kick off a packed weekend of a brilliant way, to kick off a packed weekend of rugby, especially in National One. And those followers of National One might be wondering why we haven't highlighted Plymouth Albion's mouth-watering meeting with Rotherham Titans yet, but now we are, because the Yorkshire outfit do travel to Brickfields in round 21, and they will know how Richmond have fared the night before as they look to continue hunting down their title rivals, while, as we said, Plymouth Albion will look to rock the promotion boat again as they seek a 10th successive victory, so it should be an absolute corker down in Devon on Saturday. Meanwhile, third place Roslyn Park travel to Bishop Stortford, and while we talk about Plymouth having a say in this promotion race, why can't Kieran Power's side swoop in under the radar? They are targeting a 7th win from their last 8 games on Saturday, but Stortford did cause Richmond problems last time out, so it won't be straightforward at Silver Lays. Fourth place Rams will be looking to overcome their recent difficulties when they visit 10th place Sedgley Park, but that is easier said than done. The Tigers were excellent in defeat at Plymouth Albion in round 19 and took those positives into an away 25-22 victory at 6th place Blackheath last weekend, so spirits will be high at Park Lane when Rams visit the Northwest on Saturday. Just below Sedge in the table, the bottom 4 sides are in action against one another on what feels like a key weekend in National 1, with 12th placed Esher visiting Dings Crusaders, while 13th placed Leicester Lions host bottom of the table Darlington Moden Park. You get the sense that it is a big couple of weeks for the Lions, who also travel to Esher next Saturday. So Gareth Collins' side are to pull off another escape from relegation this term, victory against Darlington Moden Park will be crucial to that. But do remember, DMP's only win this term did come against Leicester Lions back in November. So a fair bit on the line in the Midlands. And finally, Sale FC, who celebrated Jonathan Keep's 350th game in charge last week with a 37-21 win away at Esher. They are back at Hayward Road in round 21 to take on Blackheath. We begin our look back at National 2 in National 2 East this week, where the top 2 both collected bonus point victories in round 20 to set up what will be a huge meeting between the pair this coming Saturday. Now, last time out, league leaders Tunbridge Julians passed another test at their title credentials in an engrossing Kent derby at 5th placed Westcombe Park. TJ's led 17-10 at half-time before Shaden Osgood got the bonus point score just before the hour, and that proved key in a 25-20 win for the league leaders and an 18th victory from 19 games for Seb Sherwood and Jordan Turner Hall side. A remarkable record which TJ's has stitched together throughout the course of this campaign, and it leaves them 6 points clear of second place Barnes with a game in hand. But Barnes are keeping the table toppers honest after recording a 6th successive bonus point win in round 20. A storming first half display saw them lead 40-0 at the break against 4th place Canterbury, and despite the visitors roaring back in the second period, Barnes had done enough to record a 45-35 win. And as you can see, confirmation that gap between the top 2 remains at 6 points, with Barnes travelling to Tunbridge Julians this weekend. And you feel if TJs were to come out on top in that one, it would be a significant result in this title race, but that should be a cracker at the Slade on Saturday. Elsewhere in the top half, 3rd place Dorking returned to winning ways last time out in what sounded like a chaotic second half against relegation threatened Colchester. Dorking did prevail 42-26 at the big field, but 3 red cards were shown in this game. 2 to Dorking in terms of Stephen Howarth and Tom Bloomer, and 1 to Colchester's Ed Parry. But in the end, it was the host who delivered 2 tries in the final quarter to seal the victory. In terms of second from bottom, Colchester, who did lead 29-26 at one stage, they could only add a try bonus point to their survival bid, while bottom of the table Worthing departed 6th placed Henley empty-handed in round 20, despite being very much in the contest before 2 late tries secured a 36-19 win for the Hawks. So a disappointing outcome for Worthing in that one, but it was another weekend to savour for Oxford Harlequins, who took another giant step towards safety in round 20 as their 43-33 win over Sevenoaks saw them leapfrog Oaks in the standings. A 3rd successive bonus point win for Pete Davis's troops. And speaking to Pete on Saturday evening, he informed me that Oxford Quins have now collected 22 points from a possible 30 since the turn of the year, and it means they now sit 16 points clear of the danger zone. So the rise of Oxford Quins looks set to continue after promotion to this level last year. So how is round 21 shaping up ahead of Saturday then? And as we mentioned before, a possible season-defining game at the Slade with Tunbridge Julians hosting Barnes. Duncan Tout's late try and Tom White's conversion won the reverse fixture 26-25 back in November for TJs, and another success like that on Saturday would see TJs take an enormous stride towards a return to National 1 for the first time since 2022. In terms of the relegation scrap, it feels like a big afternoon for Worthing Raiders at Rownston Lane. The division's bottom club hosts 10th placed Oxford Harlequins, who, like we said, are riding the crest of a wave at the moment and will fancy their chances of making it 4 wins in a row in Sussex. But Worthing did win their last home outing against Bury St Edmunds in round 19. Meanwhile, 13th place Colchester, who are also at home, they welcome 5th place Westcombe Park to Raven Park. Mike Hayward's side are yet to win on their own patch this term, but what a time to change that statistic in round 21. And they ran Westcombe Park very close in November in the reverse fixture, but a last minute try denied them victory at Goddington Dean. 12th place Havant, who were 13 points clear of the danger zone. They will be desperate to arrest a run of no wins in 6 when they entertain Bury St Edmunds at Hooks Lane. Remember, back in round 9, Havant scored 3 tries in the final 9 minutes in the reverse fixture to win 53-49 in one of the most remarkable comebacks of the campaign. But Bury come into this one after a welcome 32-25 victory over Guernsey last time out. Elsewhere, an informed Old Albanian who beat Havant 44-30 in round 20 go to 4th place Canterbury in search of a 5th straight win. 6th place Henley, who may still be eyeing a top 4 finish, travel to Guernsey Raiders, with the hosts aiming to end a run of 6 straight defeats in what is a relentless block of fixtures for Jordan Reynolds' side due to various postponements earlier in the season. And lastly, 3rd place Dorking, they are on the road as they visit Sevenoaks. Moving on to National 2 West, where the survival bid of bottom club Devonport Services received a major boost in round 20. Now, Ben Russell's side, they beat Hinckley in round 19 to potentially reignite their hopes of pulling off a great escape from the drop, but that now feels more tangible for Devonport Services after they defeated 12th place Macclesfield 38-34 at the Rectory Field last time out. Aidan Taylor and Charles Groves both scored twice for Devonport Services in a result that leaves them 6 points behind 13th place Bourneville in the table. So a key result for Devonport Services in round 20. And despite defeat, it was also a decent afternoon for Macclesfield, who headed home from the southwest with 2 bonus points of their own, and that could be key in their own survival bid. But in terms of table rivals Bourneville, it was another Saturday and another weekend where they failed to pick up any points of their own, while those around them in the standings were able to add to their tallies. This time, Bourneville lost 64-19 away at 10th place Hinckley. But despite Callum Dacey scoring 4 tries for Hinckley, it wasn't all one-way traffic, because Bourneville actually led 19-17 heading towards the break before Hinckley went through the gears at Leicester Road to take the game away from their Midlands counterparts. And on Wednesday, Bourneville announced that head coach Matt Price had stepped down from his role at the club after almost 2 seasons in charge. The Chocos were actually 6th in the standings in October, but one win from their last 12 games did play a part in Price's decision to leave Avery Fields, with assistant coach Alex Grove taking charge of the club for the final 6 games of this campaign. So another tough week for the Chocos, and last weekend's setback at Hinckley keeps Bourneville in the bottom 2, with Macclesfield now 4 points clear of them, as you can see, and also confirmation that Devonport Services are right back in the fight after back-to-back wins. Just above those sides are 11th place Exeter University, who did collect a try bonus point in a 44-28 defeat against league leaders Cambourne in round 20. And in terms of the table toppers, that result away from home stretched their own unbeaten run to 9 games, and they also maintained their 6-point lead over second place Clifton, who passed a real test of their title credentials as they fought hard to eventually see off 5th place Redruth 39-28 at Station Road. A really good advert, this one, for National 2 West, but it was 2 tries in the final quarter from Tom Anderson that did seal the deal for the Lavender and Blacks, who keep applying the pressure to Cambourne with 6 games to go in the campaign. Elsewhere in the top half, Cinderford occupied 3rd place again after beating Taunton Titans 34-21, and a nominee for comeback of the season must go to Hornets, who lifted themselves into the top 7 after a stunning 31-29 victory over rivals Old Redcliffians at Scotland Lane. Now, Old Reds looked like they had won it when Will Luxford finished off a brilliant move to put the home side 29-14 up on 71 minutes, but 2 tries in the final 5 minutes from Luke McMullen and Josh Shepherd turned the game on its head before McMullen landed a penalty with the last kick of the game to complete a remarkable fight back for a Hornets side who are well and truly on course for their best ever finish in National 2 West, and Hornets are actually our second feature club of the week on the National League Rugby preview show. This is Hornets' 3rd consecutive season at this level, and after back-to-back 12th place finishes, as well as fending off relegation at times, the Western Supermare outfit are now targeting a place in the top 7 and are actually only 1 point away from equaling the points total that they had from last year. So really a season of progression for Hornets so far, and all of this with a squad that is made up of 80% homegrown players, with a sprinkling of talent elsewhere, with the likes of England under-20 international George Timmins spending some time on loan from Bath with Hornets last season, while Bristol Bears prop and Wales under-20 international Sam Scott played for Hornets during the first half of this season. And it's that blend within the squad and the environment which has been created at Hornets which has contributed to the progression of the side this term. So to find out more and to look ahead to this Saturday's clash against Luctonians, we linked up with Hornets Director of Rugby John Richardson and head coach Jack Gadd. John, let's start with you. And I know we touched on it yesterday when we had a brief phone call looking ahead to this interview, but how are the emotions now? How is the heart rate now after the win over Old Redcliffians at the weekend? Obviously late tries and that late penalty from Luke sealing the victory, but to come from 29, 14 down in the last 5 minutes to win a game. I can't imagine either of you have been involved in such a dramatic comeback like that.
No. A lot of people around the club will tell you that I'm not speechless very often, and that was definitely probably the first time in a few years. It was an unbelievable finish. I mean, 5 minutes to go to be 15 points down, and for the lads to still have the belief and carry on playing the way that we know they can, and to finish off a game like that was just remarkable.
I told the boys after the game in the post-match huddle that 5 minutes ago, this what I prepared to say to them was very, very different. We were a little bit frustrated, and I know the guys were a bit frustrated with how we played going down the hill at Old Red. We did a lot of hard work going up the hill and put ourselves in a really good position. And then probably didn't take very many chances coming down and made real hard work of it. And fair play to them. They gave us a little bit of a lesson of how to absorb some pressure and then come up the other end and score when they got their chance. But it is a massive thing that we've improved on over the last sort of 18 months, that belief and that positivity, and knowing that if we get a chance or we get a bit of momentum, anything can happen. And that, there's no better example of that than what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, and that belief, Jack, has that just kind of come from the experience of being in National 2 now? Because this is the third consecutive year you've been in National 2 West. So when you talk about belief and improving, is that just kind of learning lessons from the last couple of seasons, and now we're seeing that kind of rub off, if you like?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think we struggled a little bit in the first two seasons with accepting that teams are allowed to have good spells against us. And when that sort of happened, rather than trying to find a way to get our momentum back and do the simple things and get back in the game, we'd sort of hit the self-destruct button a little bit and try and do the special thing, which then against good teams that are experienced at this level, their little bit of momentum that maybe they would have had for 10 minutes turns into 30 minutes of momentum, and you're way behind the eight ball. So I think that's the lesson we've learned, is to how to absorb a bit of pressure and to still know that we're going to get another chance at some point, and it's just making sure that we build ourselves back into the game to be able to take it when it comes.
And just kind of looking at the table from this year and comparing it to last year, I think you're only now 1 point off the points total you achieved last year. So obviously looking up rather than behind you this year. So that must be really nice. And again, going back to the point we said to Jack before, it just shows the progression of the side, doesn't it? To be in this position now and going, do you know what? Top half finish is more than achievable for us.
Yeah, it came a bit of a surprise. I mean, it wasn't too many weeks ago when we were somewhere near where we have been for the most of our time in National 2 West. But you put a decent run together, and you seem fly up the table, and we've been fortunate enough to do that. And like you say, now we are looking forward, because we've got the majority of our squad are fit and ready to go. So we're confident.
Yeah, and John mentions there kind of, having the availability you have within the squad, but it feels like this Hornet squad has developed together, if you like, certainly from our point of view in a National League rugby sense. A lot of the same faces we've seen over the last 3 years, and I know kind of the homegrown element is so important to Hornet, so that must give you guys as a coaching group real confidence that when you are progressing, you're doing it with lads that are homegrown. They know exactly what direction the club wants to go in.
Yeah, no, it's massive for us. And we speak about family, and we speak about group of lifelong friends, and that's really what we have got here. And I've been involved with the club for 10 years on and off, and John's been here for 12 years. And to be able to bring a lot of those players through Colts, who are now sort of the experienced players now we're in National League Rugby, and now also at this end of the spectrum, as we're sort of almost seeing them getting to the end, we're now seeing a new batch of youngsters come through, and to have 4 18-year-olds that came on and were all on the pitch to finish the game on Saturday, that have come through our junior system, our cult system, and now they're out there doing the business for the first team, is a really great place to be. And it's on and off the pitch really, Chris, because we are all so close, and we're now all sort of going through the same stage of life with having babies and getting married and all that. And I don't know, I said to John the other week, it feels like we've done something, we've got it really right this year.
It basically comes down to what we've got at the club. We don't have a huge budget to bring, the finished articles in all the time. We have to develop our own players, and we take huge pride in that. developing youngsters and making them feel part of this club. And they know that we're not going to go out and spend big money and bring people in that if they play for Hornets, they'll get a chance. That just creates a togetherness and a trust. I think there's a trust within the club and the group that, we will always back our own. And that's what happens. And there are lads that have come in from elsewhere. Don't get me wrong, of course there are, but they've added to that group as well.
Yeah, because we were talking before we went on air that I think it's 80% of the squad is homegrown, John. But you mentioned there that kind of some lads do come in from other places to help the squad, and and over the last couple of years, a couple of lads on loan. Obviously George Timmins from Bath, who's now doing great things with the England under-20s, and obviously Sam Scott as well, who is playing for you in the first half of the season and was part of that Wales under-20 side that beat Ireland the other week. But these guys, you touch on there, they have to have the right attitude, don't they? And you always see on Hornets' social media, you guys championing the fact that they're doing great things at the moment. So they've been part of this journey as well as the homegrown lads, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most National 2 clubs welcome academy lads in from Premiership sides, and we're lucky enough to have George from Bath last year, who, watched him on the telly on a Friday night, picking up man of the match for England against France earlier on in the Six Nations, and then Sam, who's been with us for most of this season, picking up man of the match for Wales against Ireland. It just makes you feel really proud of what we're doing, and like I say, giving these young lads a chance to develop, and then them taking it away and doing what they want with it. Really, it's just fantastic to see.
So playing at Hornets was massive for me. Obviously, Six Nations last year, I didn't get selected at the start, so I was a bit disappointed, but it just made me strive more for Hornets. So I carried on playing as much as I could for them, getting some good game time, and then but soon later in that year got called up into the 20s. So playing that block at Hornets was massive for me, just trying to express myself on the field, keep working on what I'm working on, and getting game time mainly. Coming out of school and you don't get to play much senior rugby. So it's a great transition for younger lads at clubs to be able to go down to a close club with a good group of people down there who are all trying to do the same thing and just play rugby and have fun. And they've got a great setup down there, and it's just really good for the young lads just to try and get a lot of game time under their belt, transitioning into that senior rugby side of things. So for me, I had a good mentality for it, to be honest, because it's sort of you either stay at your club and you don't play any games at all, or you can go somewhere. It may be a little step down, but like I said, it was my first year in professional rugby, so it was sort of good for me because I could find my feet in senior rugby and sort of take it from there. But it's more about the thing where you're going to develop more if you're playing than if you're not. You can only do so much on a training field, and to be able to go down there and them to welcome you with open arms and to get you playing is amazing. So you can keep developing as a player as you're playing.
You're absolutely spot on, John. The amount of people we hear and talk to about how important National 1 and National 2 are to the development of these young players is so important to the wider picture of their rugby journey, and Hornets are very much playing a part in that in those two examples with George and with Sam. But Jack, just to kind of bring it back to the here and now to this weekend, the final 6 games of the campaign. Obviously, Luctonians at home to come on Saturday, and obviously you moved ahead of them in the table last weekend, and you had a pretty narrow game against them earlier in the season where I think you really impressed in the first half, but they came back. But giving you purple patch of form, the confidence that has probably been galvanised in the group over the last few weeks, you must be feeling confident, looking forward to this game on Saturday.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I think we are firm believers that every week's different, and you've got to treat every week and every team with the respect that you would, regardless of momentum or position in the league. But we do enjoy playing against Luctonians. We've never managed to beat them yet while we've been in this league, which is one of the only teams I think that we're still got that record against. So, we'll be really excited to welcome them down here, and be really excited to play the Hornets way and to see if that's good enough this time to get us over the line. And we set ourselves some goals and targets at the beginning of the year, and and we've kind of sort of already surpassing those. But we also know that over the last 2 years, when we managed to get our goal, which was to be safe, we've seen a bit of a drop off in performances after that. So we're going to just about to review the game for Saturday and go down, and the message is that we've worked too hard now to put ourselves in a position to then sort of dribble into the end of the season, really. So like I said before, every game with the same respect that we treated the last with, and we really want to push to be in the mix of that top six, because the boys have worked really, really hard and committed a lot of their time and efforts, especially with what's going on with their lives at the moment, to put the club in this position. And I really want to see, especially for a couple of the boys that might decide to hang the boots up at the end of the year, that we cash in now on this momentum and the hard work and really finish in style, really.
So big thanks to John and to Jack for their time on Tuesday, and also a massive thanks to England under-20 international George Timmins for the guest appearance during that interview. As we said before the interview, George did play for Hornets in National 2 West last season, but he is now very much part of an England under-20 side that are targeting a Six Nations Grand Slam. So good luck to George and the rest of the England under-20s lads for the next couple of weeks. I'm sure everybody connected to Hornets will be cheering George on, and I know both John and Jack will want to see those Hornet supporters out in force at the Nest on Saturday when they host Luctonians. And Hornets are actually aiming for a fourth successive win for the first time in just over 3 years. They have never achieved it in National 2 West over the last 3 seasons. So that is a carrot for Hornets and their supporters on Saturday. As for Luctonians, they will be aiming to arrest a run of 4 straight defeats in round 21, where we also have 6 other excellent games to look forward to. And we mentioned Bourneville in the first part of our National 2 West chat, and Alex Grove will be looking to galvanise his troops for a huge game against Exeter University at Avery Fields on Saturday. And you could say the same in terms of a crucial fixture for 12th place Macclesfield, who are back at Priory Park to face Hinckley. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff, this one, in Cheshire, as Mac look to once again strengthen their survival bid at home, while a 4th win from the last 6 away matches would all but guarantee Hinckley another season in National 2. And with the sides directly above them all facing off, it could be a chance for Devonport Services to take advantage, but that is most certainly easier said than done, as they go to a Red Roof side who have won their last 5 matches at home. But remember, Devonport Services did beat their hosts back in round 9, but the Reds are a different proposition to what they were 4 months ago. As for the title race, the latest chapter sees Camborne back at the Recreation Ground. The league leaders have won all 10 of their home games this term, while Old Redcliffians head to Cornwall on the back of 4 straight defeats. And after last weekend's examination against Redruth, second place Clifton face another tricky assignment in their promotion push, as in round 21 they go to 4th place Taunton, who are unbeaten at home this term. So can Clifton become the first side to breach Veritas Park since Bishop Stortford did it in National 1 almost exactly a year ago to the day? So a challenge at Clifton will be relishing on Saturday. And lastly, it was a good week for Cinderford, who not only returned to winning ways in round 20, but they also received the news that they've been granted planning permission to install a state-of-the-art 3G pitch, which is set to add to the transformation of facilities at the club's Dockham Road home. So Cinderford will certainly want to keep the good vibes going in round 21 when they travel to an informed Loughborough Students. And we end this week's preview show in National 2 North, where in round 20 it felt like a big weekend for 2 teams in particular in the bottom half. Now, starting with Sheffield Tigers, who scored 3 tries in the final 8 minutes to clinch a 34-18 victory and stun 13th placed Harrogate at Door Moor. The Tigers were 18-13 down, but a brace from James Norman and one from Ben Manderfield clinched a huge victory for the hosts, which leaves them 11 points clear of the danger zone. But despite the victory, Tigers' Jamie Broadley didn't hold back in his post-match interview with the Rugby paper, saying it was one of the worst performances Sheffield Tigers have put in this season. But in the end, his side did manage to pull it out the fire in what is a crucial time in the campaign. And if that win for Sheffield Tigers had eased any relegation fears they might have been having, the same can be said for Otley, who managed to make it 3 straight wins after beating Chester 40-24 at Hare Lane. Just the 3rd team to beat Chester in their own backyard this season, after 2nd place Sheffield and 3rd place Lynn. But that didn't look like it was going to be the case at half-time when Chester led 24-8. But Otley produced a storming second half display to score 32 unanswered points to seal that 40-24 victory and a 3rd win in a row, as we say. And it's been quite the turnaround for Otley in the last few weeks, from being a side hovering right above the danger zone to a side now eyeing up a top half finish, because as you can see, Otley are up to 9th after their recent resurgence and now have the top 7 in their sights, while that result for Sheffield Tigers that we talked about leaves them 11th in the standings. And the nature of that comeback from Sheffield Tigers meant bottom 2 side Harrogate didn't add any points to their tally last weekend, while Birmingham and Hull also fell into that category. Hull, who sit 7 points clear of the danger zone, were beaten 50-24 at 3rd place Lynn, who returned to winning ways, while Birmingham were on the wrong end of a 52-17 scoreline against title-chasing Sheffield, where winger Christian Hooper held himself to 4 tries in that one. And just in terms of Sheffield and the top half of National 2 North, Sheffield's success keeps them 4 points behind Leeds Tights, who powered past 10th place Preston Grasshoppers 45-10 in round 20. Pete Seaborn and Pete Lucock's men put their foot on the accelerator in the second period to secure an 11th win in a row. And in fact, all of the top 4 sides, including Fylde, who came from behind to beat Tynedale 27-19 in front of a crowd of over 1,000 at Woodlands last week, all 4 of those top 4 sides, you can see, were victorious last weekend. But that won't be the case in round 21, as leaders Leeds Tights face the latest hurdle in their pursuit of the title when they entertain 3rd place Lynn in West Yorkshire. Leeds are on the longest current winning streak across National League Rugby, but the last and only team to beat the tabletoppers this term were Lynn back in round 9. And with Adam Fletcher and Andy Davis' side looking a bit more like themselves against Hull last week, could they do the double over Leeds and add a significant twist to the title race? I know 2nd place Sheffield will be hoping that is the case, but Anthony Poser's troops face a tricky assignment of their own as they travel to 5th place Wharfdale in round 21. The hosts may have won just 1 of their last 5 matches overall, but 8 of their 10 wins this season have come at the Avenue, so it feels like a real test of the promotion ambitions of Sheffield and Leeds this weekend. Down at the other end of National 2 North, bottom club Birmingham, who were only actually 17-10 down at half-time against the aforementioned Sheffield last week, they'll be eager to begin picking up points and wins again, and they do have an opportunity to do just that when they host 10th place Preston Grasshoppers on Saturday, who themselves will be keen to bounce back from successive defeats. Fellow bottom 2 side Harrogate are back at the Apollo Capital Stadium to take on 7th placed Hull Ionians. All 3 of Harrogate's wins this season have come on their own turf, including in their last home outing against Fylde, and Harrogate still remain in a good position to keep fighting for survival. But Hull Ionians will take the trip to North Yorkshire on the back of 3 consecutive victories. As for Hull Ionians' city rivals Hull, the 12th place side entertained Chester this weekend. Despite Hull hovering above the dreaded dotted line, they have won 4 of their last 5 home games, and they will want that to continue on Saturday. While elsewhere, Otley and Fylde meet at Cross Green, with both sides aiming to continue their recent upturn in form. And we finish where we started with Sheffield Tigers, who travel to 6th place Tyndale, and the home side will be aiming for a reaction after back-to-back defeats. Well, that is about it then for this week on the National League Rugby Preview Show. We hope you've enjoyed this show, and if you have, please don't forget to hit like on the video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel as well. It is absolutely free to do both of those things, and it always helps to promote National League Rugby that little bit more. Do follow us on social media as well to see all of our content on there, as well as regular news from all of our clubs. And as always, do check out our website for the latest reviews and previews. And as we always say, it is the quickest way to find out all of the results from a Saturday afternoon's action across National 1 and National 2. Do keep checking out talkingrugbyunion.co.uk. They are massive supporters of what we do here at National League Rugby. And as I mentioned on the last on round 19 show, should I say, they have just launched their own video podcast called In the Clubhouse, which focuses on all levels of rugby, including National League Rugby. So that is definitely worth checking out on Talking Rugby Union's own YouTube channel. But for now, that is it this week on the National League Rugby Preview Show, and we'll see you again next time.